I went to the class and I had this little point and shoot digital camera, and everybody else came in with their big cameras and their expensive lenses. And I remember the lady sat next to me. She's like, "So that's what you shoot your photos on?"
Oops.
Yes. And I'm like, "Well, yeah." And she's like, "Okay." She said, "Well, what kind of photos do you shoot?" And I said, "Martial arts photos." She's like, "I've never heard anybody doing martial arts photography." And even today, I still hear people say that.
Yeah.
So it's such a niche.
Hello, welcome to the Martial Arts Lifestyle. I am James Cox. I have a special guest with me here today, and we are in episode number 38. Welcome back. I know we were on a row of doing these weekly, and then I had to do some traveling, took a small little break, but we're excited for some future interviews and some content. Man, I'm just excited to share this with you. So make sure that you tune in, as well as go back and check out those other 37 episodes. Quite a variety of things that we have when we're talking about martial arts as a way of life for non-martial artists or martial artists, and just ways to enhance your life and live it a little bit better, becoming the best versions of yourself. That's what we try to do daily on the mat. And if we can instill those kind of life skills and character into people we contact with, to be better outside of the mat. But this is Mr. Stace Sanchez. Now, Stace is probably known as Kick Pics. Literally, his name is Kick Pics.
That's true.
Interesting. I've known you for quite a while, right? Maybe
Yes, sir.
15.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
I think it's been longer than that because I
20?
started my business in 2008.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long time then.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good. And I'll let you kind of introduce yourself, maybe your martial arts journey, about this business, because you have some unique perspectives. I bet this guy has probably been inside of more martial arts schools than anyone. I mean, the world's a big place.
It is.
But who else would go into as many martial arts schools as you go into,
Yes,
and
sir.
why? So bet there's some good stories. But yeah, just
Yes, sir.
introduce yourself and tell us something about your journey and your business.
Excellent. Well, I own Kick Pics. Kick Pics has hit the internet in about 2001, October 2001. So here we are. It's going to be my 21st anniversary.
Nice. Congrats.
Yeah. So Kick Pics hit the internet in 2001. At that time, I was working in the mortgage business, and worked in the servicing department. Then I went to become a loan officer. And anytime I had a really good month, I would go somewhere and do photo shoots. So it was always something that I wanted to do. So that's how Kick Pics started. And as far as me, how I got into doing Kick Pics is I used to, well, first of all, my uncles used to train in their basement, and they would just knock the snot out of each other.
Old school, huh?
Yes,
Yeah.
old school training. And I always loved seeing them work out. My uncle had literally a stack of martial arts magazines, and while they were beating each other up, I'd go through them.
Yeah.
And the things that always stuck out to me were kicks. I was a Bruce Lee fan, loved seeing that as I grew up, Chuck Norris. So kicking was always something that I really liked. And then I grew up in a town called Lake Orion in Michigan. I still live in Michigan. And just out of nowhere, I mean, I live in a very small town, and out of nowhere, this ITF school opened up. And I just happened to be driving by, and I saw it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to stop. So I stopped, looked in the window, and it was a Korean instructor. And he invited me into the school and let me see a class. And I was hooked. I could not wait to join.
Traditional Taekwondo,
So,
right?
yes, the traditional hard hand
Yeah.
Korean instructor that if you made a mistake, they're beating on your legs and they're beating on your hands. So that's how that started. So I took my first kick pic with a Polaroid.
Okay, right.
I did.
Shake it.
I did. Yes, sir. So that was my first pick, and then over the years, I had a little 35 millimeter, just a regular camera. Would go to photo shoots and spend $30 and $40 on getting prints developed for maybe 1 or 2 shots to come out. So when digital came out and you could actually see your photo, man, that was a game changer.
Yeah.
So that's how Kick Pics started, and really it was just my local area, and I would just say, hey, my name's Stace Sanchez, and I have this little website called Kick Pics, and if you'd ever want to throw some kicks, just let me know. Yeah. So that's how it started. So I started meeting all these people doing personal shoots. And then when I was in the mortgage business, like I said, anytime I had a really good month, I would travel out of state, you know, to go do photo shoots. And so that's how that whole thing started. And then making the transition from Kick Pics, from the mortgage business to Kick Pics.
Full time.
Yep. Yeah. I had some personal issues come up, and it was one of those things where you're like, you know what, life is too short to not do what you love.
That's right.
So I stepped away from my successful business as a mortgage broker of over a decade and started Kick Pics. Best thing I ever did.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But I love that, and that's so much of other stories of martial artists opening schools.
Right.
Like, it's so similar to myself. I just loved martial arts.
Right.
You know, but to take that plunge and make it a career,
Yes,
and
sir.
go through the struggles and all of that.
Yeah.
Now, you younger people probably need to go and Google Polaroid and figure
That's
out what
right.
that is.
That's right.
To be around VCR and things like that.
The struggles were real.
Yeah, phones with cords back in the day.
Yes,
so,
sir.
how many do you even have a clue of? I don't know why that fascinates me, because I've been in a lot of martial arts schools. I would travel, and I would always go visit schools. I would go train with people, but there's no way it's near the number you have. Do you know how many martial arts schools you've been inside of, and how many people you photographed?
I couldn't even tell you. There's schools that when I made the transition from doing personal shoots to schools, I went to a photography class, and it was just at a photography studio, so it wasn't a college course. And the guy started taking all these photos with this beautiful, beautiful model. And I thought to myself, I'm like, man, this would be amazing if I could turn this into a martial arts photo. So I went to the class, and I had this little point and shoot digital camera, and everybody else came in with their big cameras and their expensive lenses. And I remember the lady sat next to me, she's like, so that's what you shoot your photos on?
Oops.
Yes. And I'm like, well, yeah. And she's like, okay. She said, well, what kind of photos do you shoot? And I said, martial arts photos. She's like, you know, I've never heard anybody doing martial arts photography. And even today, I still hear people say that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's such a niche. After that class, I had in photography, lighting is like black belt in martial arts. I skipped all the belts and went right to lighting, and I was completely lost. I almost walked out of that class within the first half hour.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know the lingo. But I'm super glad that I stayed. So that lady said, well, do you have a website of your photos? So I pointed her to Kick Pics. So she comes back the next day, and she's like, oh my gosh, she's like, your pictures are awesome, and you shoot with that? And I said, yeah. And she said, and you how many people have visited your website? She said, do you know how much you're ahead of the curve than probably almost all of us here? And I'm like, really? And she's like, yeah. She's like, so find out how to do it and make it work. And after that class, I paid the instructor his assistant to go shopping with me to help me buy what I needed to get started. So I bought whatever I had to buy and went to my buddies that I've been shooting photos with, and I said, hey, just want to let you know I can start doing schools now. And he's like, man, I've been waiting for you to do this. So all those people that I met from the very beginning, a lot of those people are still my customers.
Yeah.
You're a prime example of that.
Yeah, well, you do good work, and
Thank you.
you know that's retention, right? So
Yes,
why would they want to not have you back, right?
Yes,
and
sir.
you know, the pictures last forever, right?
They
As
do.
long as we can take care of those, and those are the memories. It's funny, even students that you've photographed of mine through every belt rank or close, where you see the comparison of them being a white belt,
Right.
and then 4 or 5, 6 years later as a black belt,
Absolutely.
and then to master ranks and things like that. That's pretty cool.
It is amazing.
Yeah. What are the things you've seen in the martial arts schools? Like, I don't know why I'm more interested. I'm really interested in that. But like all these schools you've been to, what are some common similarities or even some drastic differences? You know.
Well, I think the similarities there. I think, you know, without hesitation, everybody is still teaching the kids that it's not just about kicking and punching. They really instill the respect and the courtesy. I love when I go to a photo shoot and the student, I ask them to do something and they say, yes, sir.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just,
that's right.
You just met me. at a photo shoot and you're calling me sir, I just love that. So that is still remains the biggest thing across all the schools.
Where else would you get that? Nothing
Exactly.
against other activities, you know, if you were doing baseball pictures or dance pictures
Right.
or whatever else. I don't know if you would get that
Absolutely
same
not.
immediate respect and bows and sir and eye contact.
Right.
And
Absolutely not. I can tell you that 100%.
Yeah.
Because I do other types of photos too, and I just don't get that.
that's cool. So people are doing their jobs across the world with what the martial arts should do for the people.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And I love that at all the martial arts schools, there might be some students that might be a little bit of an introvert that have a huge friendship base at their martial arts school, where outside they may not have that. So I love that family. I love when I see the parents actually have a group of parents that are really, really tight and help out with the school. So I do find that often in all the schools that I go to.
Yeah,
so
that's so true.
Yeah.
And my best friends in the world still today are people that are in martial arts, some that I started with, you know, from students to parents to classmates when I was a kid. And it does become an extended family.
Right.
You know, what's the saying that we stole? Families that kick together stick together.
Yes, sir.
Right? Yeah. Good. Any differences in the schools? Because you've been to such variety. Are you guys some crazy stories?
Well, there are. I mean, there's some schools that are still like my school that I grew up in. I love that there's some schools that the instructor, the school owner, sets those boundaries from the very beginning when that student comes in, and they say, as soon as that kid goes through my door and is on my mat, that kid's mine. This is my teaching style. So they're upfront of what they want to do. So it's so good to see the old school, the still pretty stern schools like I had. And then you get the ones that are, you know, things are just it's just a different world now. You can't, you mentioned about doing belts. I'm afraid to do belts because you never know if you might get in that situation where you might be accused of something.
You're right.
That's why
it's unfortunate, right?
It is.
But,
It's
but
sad.
things have happened.
Absolutely.
So, ridiculous.
Absolutely. There's a reason for it. Yep. So differences of like that. So I do see some schools that are the old school traditional versus, you know, not. I see a lot of my instructor taught every single class. You might have an instructor, one of the higher rank instructors, warm us up, but he still did all the classes. So I love seeing that when I go to schools. You get some schools that maybe the school owner doesn't know a lot of the people because they're doing the business part, which is not a bad thing, but that's just a difference.
It's just different.
Yes,
That's
sir.
right. Yeah. I've seen it all as well. You know, I think the big word that comes to mind for me is culture. How someone can build and create just like you can in your business, just like a restaurant does in their shop or whatever. A martial arts school can build their culture.
Right.
And it's nice if they can make it known,
Right.
you know? Yeah. Man, there was times in the 80s and 90s, I saw some martial arts schools where you walked in the door, there was a waiting area and there was a wall, no mirror, and a big sign said, "No parents beyond this point."
Oh, wow.
That was pretty strict, right? And, you know, couldn't happen today.
Yes, sir.
You know, but yeah, let them do their job.
Right.
You know, because there can definitely be a balance, man. Where are the boundaries and, you know, this and that, but building the culture that you want and what you expect.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I like all the differences. So all these photo shoots, I think I saw you, you do a shoot for Machida.
I did.
UFC Machida champ.
I did.
Who are some of your favorites or bigger times or any crazy stories from your shoots?
Yeah, so the Machitas, I met both the brothers.
That's
had
cool,
a
man.
photo shoot there. I had a photo shoot in Canada with Fabrizio Werdum
Yeah.
and Tally's Leadys. Is that how you say his name?
I know what you're talking about.
I shot with him
Yeah.
too. I've shot with a couple of celebrities. I probably more B movie. Gary
Yeah.
Daniels is one of my martial arts actors. I've shot with Lauren Avedon. He was king of the kickboxers.
Yeah.
It's been amazing. You know, I've traveled all over the country. I've been to Italy. I've been to England, Denmark, Sweden, and Canada. So I've been out of the country doing photo shoots, and it's just amazing. It really is. At the tagline at the bottom of Kick Pics for the longest was Kick Pics uniting the martial arts world one kick at a time, and it truly has. You know, with social media, I get hits from literally all over the world, and that's what I love about social media. So so that's been amazing to be able to travel and shoot with kickers. To be getting back to your question of how many people I've shot, I have no idea. I know it's, and how many schools it's, and how many pictures, it's a lot.
Yeah.
I never knew that you could break your camera with
using it too much.
The shutter went out. I was at a personal shoot in California, and I started getting this black across my screen, and I never knew what that was. So I ended up going back to a camera shot, and they said, yeah, your shutter's blown. And I said, what do you mean blown? He's like, yeah, it'll go out. And I said, well, how many pictures do you have to take? And he's like, a lot.
Yeah, right.
So
it doesn't happen much.
It is. And just to give you an idea of, I have probably 8 hard drives full, and a ton of CDs before hard drives were, of just storing my photos.
Yeah.
Yep. So a lot of schools, a lot of martial artists, a lot of places. Funny stories, well, cool and funny stories. I remember I was doing a photo shoot in California, and this girl came to the photo shoot, and she was just stunning. Had her makeup done.
She was ready.
Her hair was done.
Photo shoot.
Yep,
that's all she
It
heard.
was a photo shoot. So she does one of her jump kicks, and her it was an extension. It flew off.
Oh. Oops. Did you catch it?
It flew off, and by the time she landed, it was still in the air, and it just plopped on the floor. We laughed so hard. That was one of my most memorable funny things.
Right.
But Kick Pics is what sets Kick Pics aside of a lot of martial arts is I used to go online and search for martial arts photos, and you could always see solo pics. Well, I love the partner shots. Face kicks are my favorite thing, and that's what put Kick Pics on the map. Is, you know, there's a ton of websites that do just regular photos, but we love not hurting people, but, you know,
the pose,
exactly,
kicked
pose
in the face.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there have been several times, and I always tell the kid that says, you know, I want to do a face kick, and I'm like, okay, you realize it's not a real kick, so you can't kick the person. And there's been so many times where they just blasted that.
Yeah. Their control wasn't what they thought it was, right?
I just had a photo shoot the other day, and the dad's like, hey, I want to do one of those face kicks. So his son clobbered him like 5 times, and I kept on not getting it, not for timing purposes, it's just something was wrong with the photo. So I kept on saying, okay, we've got to do it one more time.
Yeah.
But the dad was a trooper. He ended up doing it, so it was fun. I've met some incredibly talented. I was in California. There's a guy there's a pole right on the beach that had to be like 10 feet tall. He climbs up the pole, gets his balance, and locks out a kick. It was just, it's amazing how much awesomeness comes out of a martial artist, you know.
Yeah, right,
so I love it. I love it.
It's amazing what people can do.
Exactly.
And martial artists are pretty extreme people.
Exactly.
Yeah. They train like they should.
Yes,
why are you still doing this? And what's, you know, maybe a deep why or passion to continue?
Yep. Yeah. Well, when I was training in martial arts, I didn't know of any martial arts photographers. So my thing is, I think every martial artist that ever trains has to have a professional photo. They just have to.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, and I've done it in the past, where I've reached out to school owners and say, hey, do you know of a kid that might have some, you know, some money problems or whatever, but they do a lot for the school, and they'll say, yeah. So, you know, bring them in and let's do a free photo shoot for them.
Yeah, you've done that for me.
Exactly.
For our schools. Yep.
So I love being able to make sure every student has a professional martial arts photo, because I didn't have that. I really didn't. And I think when I'm at a photo shoot, to be able to show that student that's been training hard, and to show that parent that their money has been well spent is so rewarding to my job. I love that. I love when I get excited. I'm sure you've seen it when someone does a kick in front of me and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was so good. But then for the parent and the student to actually see it at the computer and to see their reaction, that's golden. That really gets me going. Never in a million years, and I tell my friends this all the time, never in a million years did I think my job would be working with kids.
Right.
I never thought that was going to happen, but I really enjoy it. I really, really do.
That's awesome. Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
that still photo can capture a lot.
Absolutely.
I think too, because you do get so many parents now of the kids. They may drop them off, come back.
Right.
They're just busy lives. You'll see them, the whole class on their phone. They're watching this or that. Maybe they show up for a belt graduation or a special event. But I don't know how much some parents may really see what that child is doing or the passion they have. But to even capture that in a picture, I've seen some of the parents look at the monitors when you're proofing the pictures and like, wow, like I didn't know you could kick that good.
I love
or something
that.
like that, and the expression on their faces.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. And then through Kick Pics, I had some friends of mine that grew up in my town that 3 of their kids ended up getting cancer, and one of them actually passed away. So through all the face kick stuff, we have a Kick Pics Kicking Cancer. So for the last few years, we probably, for every face kick that we shoot, we donate up to $2 per kick. And we've donated over $10,000.
That's awesome, man. Well, good job and congrats. I'm going to kick you in the face tonight, right?
Yes, sir.
So get a couple dollars donated.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Last night you were taking a picture of one of he may have been a 4-year-old little kid, right? And you're in the middle of the tarp there. You're going to photo on, and he was looking at an umbrella with the lighting, right? And you told him to kick towards that red umbrella. And this kid takes off in a full sprint. I guess he's going to run and kick the umbrella. And Stace reacted and grabbed him, intercepted him right before he ran over that.
Yes, sir.
He's like, no, don't run.
Yeah,
Stay
absolutely.
there.
Stay right there.
That was funny.
Yes, sir.
That was a good moment. Yeah. Well, what else, man? Again, seeing these schools, any, I don't know, comparisons, so many different people, but memories, experiences, anything else that you want to say or add?
It's been when I grew up in my ITF school, it was straight up ITF Taekwondo. That's it. So it's good to see these schools that offer different types of programs. Yeah. Whether it just be kickboxing for the adults that want to do that, jiu-jitsu's come into play. Sport karate, the tumbling, the tricking, all that stuff. Some schools even do parkour. So I think it's a powerful thing, because traditional martial arts, that's awesome. That'll never stop being awesome. But I think people tend to get bored. Mm-hmm. So to have other things that they can, train in, I think that's just a beautiful thing for retention. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. Buffets are interesting, variety, versatility. I bet it was a time where you knew you were going to go and do a photo shoot at a Shotokan karate school, where you knew you were going to see these deep stances and reverse punches with chambers and, solid lower side kicks and things. You knew if you were going to go to a jiu-jitsu school, you're going to catch some arm bars and triangles, or if you went to an MMA school. But now you'll go into a school like ours, and I was telling you the other day, you might have guys more boxing, you might have some jiu-jitsu, you might have some kick, you might have some weapons. Yep. So you get mixed martial arts, you get the mixed martial arts photography, right? It probably makes it a little more exciting for you too. It does. But,
and one of the cool things that I love, I post it pretty often on my page, that for my friends and family that are watching, get your kids into martial arts. I cannot stress that enough. Yeah. The physical part, yes, but what it teaches, like I said, it's amazing when you see a kid come up to you and say yes sir, no sir, and then you hear that, because there's times where I'll go to an event like I just shot one of my clients turned friend. He asked his girlfriend to marry him. Mm-hmm. But even hearing them speak to her parents, yes sir. Mm. No, ma'am. It's just awesome.
And it's common to them. That's what they know.
Absolutely.
Do. But maybe early on, you did it because you didn't want to have to be do push-ups. Right. You didn't say, yes, sir, give me 10 push-ups. But, hey, discipline to self-discipline, it instilled,
And I tell you what, there's there's one thing that you can never judge. I've learned you can never judge a book by its cover. There have been, while people are waiting in line to come and shoot, you kind of see who's waiting. And I've shot a ton of special needs kids. I've shot people with Down syndrome, whatever, and their parents will always give me that heads up. And sometimes, and I hate saying it, but sometimes it's a good luck type thing.
Yeah.
And that immediately is a challenge.
Yeah.
I am going to make sure that kid walks away with an excellent kick.
Yeah.
That is, if I have to do it 20 times, that kid's going to get an excellent kick.
So good luck. I don't know.
Absolutely.
I got this.
Yep. Yeah. And typically your martial artists are very fit. On the skinnier side, I love when I see an older person, you know, in their 50s. Well, in their 60s.
Right. Yeah, 50's the new 40s.
Yes, sir.
So,
the young kids at 50, but the older generation that are still putting their uniform on and training. I love seeing that.
That's true.
And then they throw a high kick. I love that.
Yeah.
Or you might see a kid that might be a little overweight. And they get down in a full split and kick straight up. That amazes me.
Yeah.
Or you get a brand new, and this just happened to me the other day. This kid went into a birthday party of one of his friends that trained at that school. He fell in love with it. He went to go sign up for classes, and it just happened to be the day that we did Kick Pics. And he signed up for a photo shoot. So not even one class under his belt. Put his uniform on, went up there, and his kick was perfect.
Wow.
It was amazing. Yeah. So that kind of stuff, it's just all why I love it.
Yeah, I think you only see that in martial arts, man. You know, we used to use the philosophy, the way of the invisible snapping fist. But the whole concept is that you can't see what the martial artist is typically on the outside. Right. Because they can come in all shapes and sizes and colors and whatever. It's that hidden, you know, you can look at a bodybuilder and you can kind of tell, oh, I bet he's a bodybuilder, a basketball player, you know, but a martial artist can come in many ways.
Absolutely.
What's great is when you do realize that they're martial artists simply by their communication, their confidence, their posture, you know, things like that.
Absolutely.
That's the magic of what we do.
Yes, sir.
Well, man, I appreciate you coming down again and capturing a lot of moments for a lot of people that they'll hang on to. And is there anything else you'd like to say? And did we kind of say your website's pretty easy to find, Kick Pics, right?
Yeah, kickpics.net is my website. Instagram is Kick Pics LLC. And Facebook, it's just Kick Pics on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yep. And for all you school owners out there that don't use social media, you are totally missing out. It's amazing how many school owners don't use social media.
Yeah, behind times.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's free, folks. Mm-hmm. You know, the last time people ask me how much money I spend on advertising, and I don't, because social media is my advertising.
Yeah.
It is. When I first started off with AOL. First started off with AOL, then MySpace came along.
And MySpace. Y'all Google that one too.
Yeah.
Polaroid.
Probably, exactly. Start on that. So on my regular website, I was averaging between 7,000 to 10,000 hits per month. MySpace came along, that made it shoot up even more. And then one of my buddies told me, he's like, Stace, you gotta find Facebook. And I'm like, dude, I'm way too busy on MySpace. Best thing I ever did. did. We just had a record last month. One of it, and it's not even my video, but it's a video that we posted on our page. We had 18.9 million hits on
wow.
in 1 month.
Dang.
Yes, and we've hit several. There's been several videos that have gone viral.
Yeah.
And it's free. You know, and for school owners, it's so important. If I post one of your students, parents go crazy when they see their student being featured, you know. And then
we did one today.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I shared it. And it's
you're
very
good about social media. But what happens is that parent then shares it, and then all their local friends see it, and it's a no-brainer. It really is a no-brainer.
Right.
So it kills me when I see schools that don't use social media. It's free, folks. Do it.
And then wondering why. Yeah. The dinosaurs.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Good deal. Well, man, it was a pleasure speaking with you. Thanks
Likewise.
again for all that you do.
Yes, sir.
You guys tune in to all these other episodes. Check out our YouTube channel, James Cox Martial Arts. Follow this podcast that we have. We're looking forward to some exciting interviews coming up. All right. Keep being the best versions of yourself. Thank you.